So today we're going to start to talk about proportions, and first we're going to go over the vocab for proportions. So a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. So two ratios are equal. So like a fraction. Two fractions are equal. A ratio, a comparison of two quantities measured in different units. So like turtles and fish, or inches and feet. Those are two different types of units. Another thing we're going to be talking about, not today but in the coming classes, is scale drawings. A scale drawing is a proportional relation of a space or item that is too large or too small to be drawn or built to actual size. So a proportional representation. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the scale factor. And the scale factor is a ratio that gives the relationship between the distance on the map or drawing to the actual distance or size. So a ratio that gives the relationship between the distance on a map or drawing to the actual distance or size. So like when you draw a map, you can't draw the map, obviously, the size of the actual location. So they're scaling down, they're using the scale factor to make the whole thing smaller so we can actually see it on a map. So down here we need to decide, are these true proportions? So if the two ratios make a proportion, their cross product will be equal. So when we do a proportion, we need to cross multiply. That means we do diagonal. We're like making a big X. So we're going to do 3 times 15 first. And type it in your calculator. 3 times 15 is 45. So we're going to write 45 down here. And it's going to equal, when we cross multiply, 9 times 5. So 9 times 5 is also 45. So if 45 equals 45, that's true. So this is a proportion. So we're going to write yes. Okay, now moving on to number 2. Again, we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to do 5 times 102 first. And that is 510. And that's going to equal whatever 7 times 80 is. And 7 times 80, you can type it in your calculator, is 560. And this is not true. So we draw this line through it saying it's not true, and we're going to write no, it is not a proportion. Moving on to number 3. Again, we're going to cross multiply. So we have 1 times 100, and 1 times any number is that number. So we have 100 equals whatever 4 times 25 is. So 4 times 25 is also 100. And this is true, so yes, this is a proportion. When it equals the same number, it is a proportion. It's proportional. Okay, number 4, again, we're going to start by cross multiplying. 8 times 64, you can type it in your calculator, is 512, equals whatever 9 times 72 is, and 9 times 72 is 648, and that is not true, so no, this is not a proportion. So when we solve proportions, we're just cross multiplying. So, looking at the bottom of your page, use the proportion to find the missing value. So this time we're going to still cross multiply, but when we multiply, we're just going to write the number we're multiplying in the variable. So first we're going to start up in the top corner. So we have x times 120, and the number always comes first, so it'll be 120x equals whatever 24 times 75 is. And that's 1,800. Now this is just like solving equations or solving an inequality. We have to look at 120 and x. They are multiplying, so the opposite of multiplication would be division. So we're going to divide both sides by 120. Cross out what you used, bring down what you have left, so we have x equals 1 6,800 divided by 120 and type it in your calculator. And we get 15. So x equals 15. And you can check this by typing in your calculator. If you type in 15 divided by 24, get your answer. And then type in 75 divided by 120, get an answer. And if those answers match, it is a proportion. We did get it correct. Okay, moving on to number 2, we're going to start by cross multiplying. So we're going to do 7 times 108. And we get 756 equals n times 63. And the number always comes first, so it's just 63n. And now it's just like an equation. So we're starting on the side with our variable, which is this side. We are multiplying, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're dividing by 63 on both sides. Cross out what you use, bring down what you have left. 756 divided by 63 is 12. So n equals 12. Okay, moving on. So we're going to cross multiply. 2 times x is just 2x equals 9 times 8, and 9 times 8 is 72. It's just like an equation. We have 2x. 2 and x are multiplying. The opposite of multiplication is division. Divide both sides by 2. Cross out what you use. Bring down what you have left. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So x equals 36. And the last one, we are going to cross multiply again. So we have 3x, now we're going to cross multiply our other two numbers, equals 9 times 2 is 18. Just like an equation, we are looking at the side with our variable. 3 and x are multiplying. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're dividing both sides by 3. X equals 18 divided by 3, which is 6. X equals 6. Okay, now turning your page over to page 3, we're going to do some word problems. So the first problem we have, the ratio of teachers to students at a middle school is 2 to 45. There are 900 students at the school. How many teachers are there in the school? So we need to think about what we know in our units. So the first thing, whenever you're solving for proportion word problems, you're always going to have two fractions. We're going to have two things equal to two things. We're going to find our units first. So it says the ratio of teachers to students. So those are our two labels. So we have teachers, we have students. I'm going to rewrite this because I don't like how this looks right now. Oops, I do. So we're saying teachers over students equals fraction teachers over students. Okay, now we can plug in our numbers. So we need to find the numbers that match. So when we go through our problem, the middle school, it says the ratio of teachers to students. So this first number is going to be teachers and the second number is going to be students because that's the order it comes in. So it's 2 teachers for every 45 students. Now let's keep reading. There are 900 students at the school, so our other students will be 900. How many teachers are there? Well, we don't know how many teachers there are, so we're going to put an X. And now we're just going to cross multiply like we did before. So I'm going to rewrite it so there's not so many words. So 2 over 45 equals X over 900. And we're going to cross multiply. So 2 times 900 is 1800, and 45 times x is just 45x, and this is just an equation now. So we're looking at the side with our variable. We are multiplying. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're dividing both sides by 45. Cross out what you use, bring down what you have left. So we have x equals 40, and we're not done yet because we do not have a label. So we have 40 teachers when there's 900 students. So that's our answer with a label. There has to be a label. Okay, now looking at number 2, Mr. Johnson paid $22.25 for 5 pounds of cheese. How much would 8 pounds of cheese cost? So we know there's going to be two fractions. So the first thing we're talking about is dollars. And the second thing we're talking about is pounds. And the abbreviation for pounds is LBS. Equals for some sort of fraction with dollars over pounds. And the reason I set this up first is we know these are our labels, and now we can break down the numbers in the problem. So it's breaking up the problem into like step by step. Every single time you're going to be able to set up your labels at least. Even if you don't know what's happening in the problem, you know the two things you're talking about. So the first thing we come to is $22 for 5 pounds. So 22.25 or 5 pounds. And then how much would 8 pounds of cheese cost? Well, our other thing, we know pounds is 8. We don't know dollars. So this is our proportion now. Now all we have to do is solve. And I'm going to rewrite it just so there's no labels in it. So 22.25 over 5 equals x over 8. We're going to cross multiply. So 22.25 times 8. Get 178, and 5 times x equals 5x. Just like an equation, we're looking for the side with the variable, which is over here, 5 and x. 5 and x are multiplying. The opposite of multiplication is division. Cross out what you used. Bring down what you have left. So we have x equals 178 divided by 5, and that is 35.6, but it's money, so we need to make it 60 because it's dollars. $35.60 it'll cost for 8 pounds of cheese. Okay, last one. John was able to drive his car 420 miles on 24 gallons of gasoline. At this rate, how many miles did he drive using 13 gallons of gasoline? Well, let's think, what are our two units? So we have miles and gallons. And that's going to equal a fraction with miles and gallons. And you need to make sure that when you are doing this, you have miles on the top and gallons on the bottom. So depending where what your units are, you want to match them up across. Okay, so all miles go on the top, all gallons go on the top. Just like up here, all dollars went across, all pounds went across. They have to match up. So John was able to drive 420 miles. So 420 is our first number, and that goes with the 24. So we have 24 gallons. At this rate, how many miles did he drive using 13 gallons of gasoline? So 13 we know, but we don't know how many miles he went. So now here's our proportion, and we're just going to rewrite it just numbers so it's easy to see. So we have 420 over 24 equals x over 13. Cross multiply. 420 times 13 is 5,460 equals 24x. Find the side with the variable, divide because we're multiplying by 24. Cross out what you use, bring down what you have left. 560 divided by 24 would be 227.5 miles. Make sure you have that label. And that is our answer. So today we talked about setting up proportions and solving them to make sure they are true proportions. And we also talked about how to solve proportion word problems.